Hello, it is Happy and Quinn.
Yes, what up, everyone? What up? This is the quick win for the win. And I'm the pineapple. I go by Happy. Welcome. And we are on day 9.
Day nine. Can you believe it?
That was day 8, but yeah. Now it's 9.
Yeah, no, I didn't, yeah, 9. Oh, yeah, because my hand. Anyways,
Yes,
9.
yes. And the question is today, it is a little bit of a doozy. It's a little bit of a doozy because yesterday was what is the vow, what is the promise or promises that you have made to yourself, or what are you starting with right now? Today is real simple. It's a follow-up to that. It is, let me see.
What promises have you?
Yes. How many times have you broken that promise with yourself? How many times have you broken your vow to yourself? And the tip on this one is this is where our shame, this is where the guilt, this is where the embarrassment, this is where the lack of self-worth, the lack of self-confidence, this is where it all stems from. Mm-hmm. The reason being is when we break our word, we feel shame, you know? There's no way to hide it. There's no way to get around it. It is just, it's different than breaking something that is physical, you know, because you can see the damage. You can see what has taken place. When you break a promise, a vow with yourself, it hurts so bad. We don't even know how big or how deep or what the cut or the damage looks like. So when it happens, it could just be a little part in us, but then it starts to get bigger. You know, it's just like picking at a scab. You know, we never actually let it or allow it to heal because it's unlikely that we actually process what has happened so it actually could give it the space that it needs, the air to breathe, and the light to shine so it actually can start healing. You see? So that's why it's vital to become aware of how many times we've broken that promises and that vow with ourselves. And I'm gonna swing it over to the quick Quinn and ask her a simple question about the vow, or what was a promise that you broke, or you
the promises that I didn't know that I broke.
Yes.
And the promise that I know that I broke.
Yes, because there's 2 parts to it.
Yeah.
There's the conscious one where you know you're doing it. You know the promise. It's just like being married. You know the vow that you made. You know the promise that you made. But then you went ahead, and the very common one was you made the conscious decision to go over the border and cheat. That is breaking that vow. And that is, whew, you know, we all know it just, And so much pain is experienced with so many people because of it. See, that's a conscious decision. And then there are the unconscious decisions that we make to break our promises and our vows, because those are the ones that are made and decided upon because we don't know it. For example, you lie to somebody and you don't realize it, but you feel bad. You see, depending on how big that lie or how small the white lie is, it affects us. See, unconsciously when you first did it, you didn't realize it, but then afterwards you feel the effects. Here's one that actually I would know hits home for Quinn, and it is arguing with your parents.
Yes, I knew you were going to bring that up. Yep,
that's
definitely one of them.
You unconsciously do it, you know, because you feel the triggers. You know, so many of us have the friction, but afterwards you feel a certain way. We feel shitty, like, man, I shouldn't have said that. I should have done this. And those are the unconscious breaking of our word or a vow, because we've made it before. We're like, man, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to do that again. You know, because we know better with ourselves that that's not the way we are. And the reason we feel like that is because we're good. You're a good person. You have a good, soft spirit that is meant to be gentle and grow other people's spirit, grow your own. And by being friction and being fire, that goes against, and this is another suggestion, your vow of being a good person. Mm-hmm. See, so those are the two. There's the conscious decisions, and then there are unconscious ones. And I just gave you a tip, another tip off of the question. The unconscious decisions that we break with ourselves is we know we're good, but yet we go against being that good person. So, anything you'd like to add, Miss Quinn?
Yes. So, I had to think about this, but the tip helps out so much because I'm like, okay, but the only way that I know how many times I've broken my promise is if I knew that I was doing it. And then when the tip of thinking about the ways that you have felt shameful, which leads me to the unconscious promises that I broke. And one of them was to be a good sister, a good family member. I am the oldest, so already there was that type of language and that expectation of my role growing up, and I'm sure my parents said it to me in some sort of way because I stepped into that. Like, there's pictures of me holding my sisters, like really being nurturing and being that older sister, like really having their backs, being the leader, right, wanting all of us to be in sync and together, matching and everything. And I have broken that promise numerous of times.
And it doesn't feel good, right?
And it doesn't feel good. And this definitely hits home for me because I didn't realize that until I started doing the inner work and being conscious of my decisions, my thinking, my pains, and how much I have projected that onto my family. So yeah, I've broken that so many times. And it was since I felt bullied from other kids. And yeah, it's no wonder I didn't have the confidence growing up, and no wonder I felt so worthless, and then would get into relationships that would just amplify that feeling even more.
Right.
Relationships that were so toxic, so abusive. Not only did I disrespect myself by getting into and staying in those relationships, but I just continued to take it.
Yeah.
And so to answer that question, it's numerous, unlimited amount of times because I started to choose other people over my family. I started to just project all of my pains, boss my sisters around, bully them, call them names, right, make them feel like shit. And I started, instead of being the older sister, I was like a dictator. I was like everything has to go my way so that I can feel good because I was hurt. So numerous of times. I want to touch upon that. There's two things I want to touch upon that she was mentioning. And one thing that I mentioned earlier, see, when we break the vow or break the promise, like she did as a older sister, you know, she knew later on that she disappointed herself in that role. See, when it happens, she couldn't see it, but somewhere inside, the pain was. Yep.
And it stayed there. And because she wasn't aware what it was, it couldn't heal, right? You couldn't breathe the air into it. You couldn't give it light so it could start healing. And so it just stays there and it stays open. That pain right there, you know, it starts to create fire in oneself. And this is the thing. We become more defensive. We become a little more aggressive.
Hot-tempered.
There it goes. Because we are protecting our identity of something that we know that hurt and that we know we shouldn't have done. So we'll protect and lash out so we don't feel that feeling again. Right? And that's the first thing I wanted to touch upon is when those actions happen and when we let ourselves down, we don't let it heal. and it creates the defensiveness, the aggressiveness. And because we feel that, we want to do everything possible that when we feel that again, that's why those feelings arise, because we don't want to feel it again. The other thing is, because that's fire, I like to suggest anything we try to build, which is confidence, loyalty, self-respect, that's in the same space as well, within us. And when we have a lot of fire, guess what it's burning? It's burning our confidence. It's burning our self-esteem. It's burning anything we're trying to build, because there's so much that is unresolved. That's one of the ways that I picture it and see how people lack it. Because there's so much fire in all of us, we just don't know where to put it out. We don't have the water, the extinguisher to put it out, the tools to put it out, to fix it. And that's why it just keeps growing.
Yeah, and we look for Band-Aids. We don't realize that we're looking for Band-Aids, but we go out and look for Band-Aids to cover it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the whole reason for the prompts.
Yeah.
It's to bring the awareness as to what is happening. Because level 2 is going to help us address that and then come up with a strategy to create one for each and every one of us. So we can, in level 3, put it into practice. So we can actually start building. So basically, level 2 is creating our skills. Level 3 is going to be putting out the fires. Putting out the fires.
Well said, well said.
So, anything else? Anything else you'd like to?
Yeah, it's a heavy one. But yeah, the shame will lead you to the unconscious promises that you have made, that you have broken.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a lot of realizations, and it hurts, and it allows you to be aware of the work that is required and how there is no room to, how would I say it, forget about yourself, because you can see the fires that you have burnt. Exactly. Like, you have seen the amount of times that you went against your promise, and how much it killed your spirit, how much it killed your confidence and self-worth. And you can see the type of decisions that just continue to put a Band-Aid on it, and it just made the wounds grow more and more and more and more and more.
Exactly. Because nobody can see what's going on in here.
Yeah.
That's why so many of us fake it.
Yes.
That's why so many of us fake it.
We're looking at a lot of Band-Aids. We're not actually looking at the real person. Exactly. So who has taken off some of those Band-Aids so we can really see the real and know what it's in front of us and make the decision if that's healthy for us or not.
And it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to be able to remove those. And for those of you who have expressed it by commenting, and sharing.
Yes.
Much kudos to you.
Yes.
Big likes, big hearts to you.
Yes.
Because those are actual steps, those are actual actions to healing.
Yes, yeah.
So I commend you.
Yes, and if for anyone else who's struggling to show up, or if you're doing the work on the background and you haven't shared, awesome.
Right.
Awesome. This is for you. And we're here to support. So I reached out to some of you guys just to check in. Was everything okay? And just know that it's not a race.
It's not.
It's not a race.
We mentioned before, or I don't know if we mentioned it, but day 1 doesn't mean it has to be done that day.
Yeah.
Day 1 could take a week for you.
Yeah.
Day 1 could take 10, 14 days.
Yes. And what I would like to suggest is to watch the videos anyways and take notes on it. Because when this is over, you can go back to where it is that you are, but you have the notes from these videos to help you when you get there.
Exactly.
Yes, so watch the videos anyways, take notes, and maybe the videos could unlock the thing that's blocking you from processing and getting to your answers to write in your journal or expressing it on a video or a video recorder. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So with that said, This was day 9.
Yes.
Day 9.
Day 9.
How many times have you broken your vow, broken your promise to yourself? And remember, it is the reason, or one of the main reasons, why it's very, very difficult to grow our confidence, grow our self-esteem, because inside of us is fire, and we start it when we break our vows. That is the ignition. You know, that is the gas. Every time we do it, it just grows that fire. It grows that fire. So let's put out let's be aware of it. Let's be aware of it.
Yeah.
Day 9. This is the quick win for the win.
See you guys on day 10.
I'm the pineapple. See you on day 10. See you on day 10. Stay magical, everyone.
Bye.